Okay, the fellow at the back corner. Sorry, here.
Probably a question I wanted to get in this morning. Our clients demand analytics and metrics from all of the work we're doing online as much as we are with traditional media. Not so much with video, but how can we measure what we're achieving in China, given the huge volume of consumers and users that we're interacting with? Is there a way to measure effectively our brand penetration?
So is this question to me or to?
No, probably to Kestrel or maybe
Yeah.
Charlie. How do we follow up and understand, how do we deliver to our clients some results on what we have achieved?
Okay. First thing is you have to tell them the truth. Social media, in terms of conversion, to be very honest, is nothing more than 1% of your user base. In fact, your emails still have a higher open rate. Actually, emails have a high open rate of 8%. So be very realistic when you're doing social media. And the thing is, you can't really depend so much on figures where social is concerned. Because most of the time, a lot of your fans on Weibo, they may not be real fans. Some of them are called 僵尸粉, vampire fans. They only pop up once in a while. The others are 奖品控, those who will add any brand pages that will just give them a chance to win prizes. So for any brands, it's very tough to quantify your efforts, but I have two suggestions for you. One, make sure you actually measure the volume of your organic search traffic for your brand and your product in China before your campaign. And then measure how much increase during the campaign and after the campaign. Because I've done digital campaigns for so long, nothing tells me more than I've increased the consumer's intent in dealing with your brand or product than the spike in organic search traffic. Second thing you might want to look at is in terms of content shares. The thing is, if your content is not being shared, that means your content is not traveling on social media. And this is a very, very important thing. Last but not least, always measure conversions to e-commerce platform. The easiest way to do conversion is to link your digital campaign straight to your e-commerce store. Forget about the nonsense about creating a campaign website. It's really not needed. In fact, Pepsi and Converse have abandoned their branded platforms in China. All they want from the digital agency is come up with social commerce campaigns that push people to their Tmall store directly. So you don't waste your money paying paid traffic to push people to campaign website, to your brand website, and to your e-commerce store. I hope that answers your question.
I will add one more thing is that for those of you who are here and running campaigns in China, what you'll find is that we have different platforms we talk about today, and the tools associated with the platforms are also different. Some actually provides you good report analytics that you can actually look at yourself. Some don't. So some still require you to work out with the local agencies in order to get some of the reports or directly from the media companies and so on. So each actually is a 2-by-2 cases or platform-by-platform basis. Taobao, for example, Tmall, for example, you already have quite a lot of different tools enabled for you to do analysis and so on. Apart from Taobao's own tools, there are a lot of third-party tools to allow you to do that as well.
Zheng Xueting from University of New South Wales, and I want to ask a question for Kestrel. We have a Weibo page. UNSW also have a Facebook page. They produce posts once a day because too many posts will make people stop subscribing. So I want to ask your view about the number of posts produced at Weibo page per day. What's the number you think is a healthy number to keep the audience interested?
Okay, to be very honest, it depends on the brand. If you're a pharmaceutical brand, I don't think doing more than one blast per day is really probably the limit. But if you're a consumer brand, FMCG, maybe you should be looking at posting during the time frame where people actually go to work, go to school, and after they leave home or leave school, leave office. The reason because 40%, actually more than 40% of Weibo users, they actually go online using their phone. So chances are they're on the move. try not to tackle them so much during office hours, because the only platform that gets the most traffic during office hours is Taobao. To be honest, if I want to target women, after lunch to the 2-3 hours after lunch is probably the best time to get office ladies. The default page on their browser is Taobao, because Taobao is the best image search platform in China. So in your case, for school, I think you can manage with 2, but please vary your content. It doesn't necessarily have to be text or photo or video. Just make sure that there's a variety of content format for people to do. But my advice to you is that keep any video sharing posts as late as possible, where people are in more of a, because the thing is, if you are on the move, China's 3G is not really that good. They depend on Wi-Fi all the time. So if you want to blast out any video content, keep it as late as possible, where people are at home and their bandwidth is more stable.
Yes, please.
Hi. So I've got a question about, I think moving fast is probably one of the key themes that's been roaming around today. But do you guys probably have years of experience in this, but do you guys have any tips on how to move fast for a brand that's starting in China? And also, once they've started in China, how do they keep up with existing competitions in the markets? Just some tips.
Depends how deep your wallet is, I guess. Really nice. I mean, certainly the goal in China is to become famous. First, don't worry about the money. If you become famous, then the money will come. In terms of, well, it's true. And in terms of being able to react, it's very hard to do it from here. It's one thing that Ava really stressed in her point this morning was, and actually Alistair as well, was the speed and reaction time that you have to do. The classic example of the Wenzhou train crash and the fact that the government, even though blocking search engines within minutes on any mention of train crash, the cat still got out of the bag in terms of social media. So fast reaction time is really up to your loyal staff and to make sure that they're honest eyes and ears of your brand on the ground. Also from what your competitors are doing, it's carte blanche to copy a good idea in China. There's nothing stopping you from doing that. If you have a campaign that works, you can pretty much guarantee your house that your competitors will be copying you very, very quickly. So staying at the tip of the spear and constantly reinventing, like what Dove had to do, is a good example. I mean, please, Kestrel, would you like to have a...
Okay, I have a suggestion from you. And the speed will depend on what's your e-commerce strategy. If you're trying to penetrate tier 2, but more on tier 3, tier 4 cities, immediately launch your e-commerce platform. Because tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, the lower tier cities are more frequent users of e-commerce platforms. There's a reason for that. I've done some of the studies with some of the Chinese universities. Most of the time, consumers from tier 1 cities, they will actually buy from a branded e-commerce platform once. Second time, they'll go to a store to buy. Reason because there are such stores available, and they want to experience the brand ambience after having a successful transaction first time. So the actual repeat visits is from people from tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, where the stores are not within easy reach. So this is a very, very important point. Just now, it was an interesting point about Coach, closing Tmall store. The reason because Coach gets far more traffic at its stores compared to online stores, and there's a very simple reason for it. Coach will open in second-tier malls, even in tier 1 cities, where there are no brands bigger than Coach. So it's like the typical big fish in a small pond. So when you go to that store, Coach is the flagship brand there. So it won't open where Prada, Gucci, or LV. So that store already has a lot of attention and presence at the mall itself. So having an online store in those cities, not so important. So my advice to you is this: speed is everything. Start with an e-commerce platform. Limit the quantity of products that you can sell through the platform so that you don't get killed by logistics and fulfillment. And then test market. Which city is buying more stuff from this online store? Is it Wuhan or whatever? And this probably the states, this type of data will give you some indication of which states to tackle first.
Yep. I want to add one more point. Is about a diagram of this thing. Time, quality, and cost. So you cannot get more than two. So fast being the time is one that you want. I think quality is the second thing you want. So as they say, maybe you need to prepare some funding to do so. Otherwise, you may get poor quality service.
Yeah, just also one more point is that in order to be fast, you cannot put all things into one basket. So you make a lot of assumptions and then let's just do it and make it big. And then if it fails and then you lost everything, you have to do, instead of that, you have to do a lot of smaller tests to test your assumptions. Because otherwise, most of the time, you will find what you have assumed is not right.